Hello students, welcome to AP classes and this is Abhishek. This is part 1 video of concept of tokens and data types. In this video tutorial, we will discuss about different types of tokens that are present in Java. In exam point of view, if we say that this is one of the topic from where you can expect maximum theory questions. In ICSE examination, if the theory question comes, I have noticed that maximum theory questions what you get it from this topic. So it is one of the very important topic if we consider in terms of examination. Tokens are considered as building block of a program. Without using token, you cannot write a program. Remember, if you are trying to write a program, then program need to be written with the help of tokens. Whatever you see there, whatever individual things you see in a program, everything is considered as a token. Therefore, in this module, we will discuss in details about tokens and its uses. So, a lot to know, a lot to discuss, but before we begin, please subscribe my channel and like the video. So what is token in a Java program? In Java program, all characters are grouped into symbols called tokens. Whatever character you see in a Java program, they are grouped together and they are called as token. Well, let us see how the things are called as token. Here, when you write C, C is a character. L, L is a character. A is another character. S, S. Right? So here C, L, A, S, S all are different characters. They are grouped together, isn't it? They are grouped together and they form a token. Now, when we write here system, okay, S is a character, Y is a character, S is a character, T is a character, E and then M. Here you can see that system forms a token. So this is called as token. So whatever you see individual thing, it is called as token. And when and how the tokens are formed? When you join individual characters and they are meaningful. They must be meaningful to the compiler. Remember this thing. They must be meaningful to the compiler, because if someone writes something like this instead of CLASS class, if somebody writes CLAS class, okay, instead of writing CLASS class, if somebody writes CLAS class, this is not meaningful to the compiler. So this cannot be considered as a token. So tokens, remember, are the individual unit of a program. These are the individual unit of a program and they are meaningful to the compiler. They must be meaningful to the compiler. If something is not meaningful to the compiler, they cannot be compiled, or you can say that they are not considered as token. So whenever you get a syntax error, whenever you compile the program, you get a syntax error, right? So the thing which gives you the syntax error are not considered as token because they are not meaningful to the compiler. Next time when you visit a program, when you see a program, and if you see any individual thing, and if it's getting compiled, anything you see in the program, any individual thing you see, and if it's getting compiled, then that can be considered as a token. So in a Java program, all characters, whatever characters are there, they are grouped into symbols and they are called as tokens, right? So here C, L, A, S, S are different characters. They are grouped together to form a class that is called as a token. Now, if we go with another one, that is I is a character, N is a character, T is a character, isn't it? So INT can be considered as a token. So whatever individual things you see, when it gets compiled, it must get compiled. That doesn't mean that I will write something and it's not compiling and it can be considered as a token. No. Whatever individual things you see, and if it is getting compiled, that is called as tokens. So in a Java program, all characters are grouped into symbols called tokens. A token is the smallest element of a program. Remember, it's the smallest element of a program that is meaningful to the compiler. First of all, token is the smallest element of a program. There is nothing smallest than token, right? So it is the smallest element of a program, or you can say it is the building block of a program. But we write here a smallest element of a program because without using token you cannot write a program. So a token is the smallest element of a program that is meaningful to the compiler. That doesn't mean that you will write AJ and this can be considered as a token. No, it must be meaningful to the compiler, right? So here, whatever token you consider, whatever token you write, it must be meaningful to the compiler. Remember, compiler must be able to compile it. It must be error free. It must be able to compile. Compiler must compile that token and it must get converted to bytecode, right? When you compile a program, the compiler scans the text in your source code and extract individual tokens. What do you mean by this? Let's look to this. Okay, we'll look to this three definitions, 3 points, whatever is written here. Let's look to this example. Here you can see that we have CLASS class. So here class is considered as a token. School is considered as a token. This parenthesis, what you see, it is considered as a token. Each individual unit is considered as a token. Public is considered as a token. Static is considered as a token. Here you can see void is considered as a token. School is considered as a token. Here parenthesis is considered as a token. System, here you can see system is considered as a token. Out is considered as a token. Println is considered as a token. And here what you see dot, this dot what you see is considered as a token. Now, I hope the first point is quite clear to you that whenever some individual characters are grouped together, they form a token. Here you can see C is an individual character, L is an individual character, A is an individual character, S, here again S, all are individual characters. When they are grouped together, when we group together, these things are grouped together, they form a token, right? Now, coming to the next point, in the next point it was written that tokens are the smallest unit of a Java program, right? So here you can see this is the smallest unit of a Java program, okay? Tokens, here this is a token, this is a token, these are the smallest unit of a Java program, okay? You don't have anything else which is smaller than token. So token are the smallest unit, or you can say these are the building block of a Java program. Without a token, you cannot write a program. So here tokens are called as smallest unit of a Java program or building block of a Java program. And they must be meaningful to the compiler. This is very important. They must be meaningful to the compiler. Now, if we write instead of CLASS class, if you write CLAS class, then you can see that when you compile this program, it will give you an error. Here it's giving an error, isn't it? Here it's giving an error that it's not a class, not an interface, not an enum. So you must write a class here or an interface or an enum. Now you don't think what is interface, what is enum. This is not in Java, or you can say this is not in your ICSE syllabus. We just need to discuss about class. Do not think anything about interface, what is interface and what is enum. You are never going to get a question on these two things, okay? So here you can say that this is not a class, right? This is not meaningful to the compiler because whenever we write a program, there must be a class. So this is not a class here. So here you can see that this cannot, if it is not compiling, that means it is not meaningful to the compiler. Okay, there is nothing called as CLAS in Java. So it is not meaningful to the compiler. This cannot be considered as a token. So for that we have to write CLASS class. This is meaningful to the compiler, right? Here you can see that this is meaningful to the compiler. This holds a meaning for the compiler. There is a specific meaning, okay? So this is meaningful to the compiler, so this can be considered as a token, right? So here we will discuss that in upcoming videos or upcoming slides. We are going to discuss what are the types of tokens we have, what we call this, what this is, what we call this one, everything we are going to discuss in the upcoming classes. Here you can say that the last point, it is written that the compiler scans the text and extract individual token. What do you mean by this? Look, when the compiler will scan, here you can see that when the system or the control will scan this. First the control will find C, then the control will find L, then control will find A, then S, and then S. After that, the control or the compiler will know that yes, there is a keyword placed, there is a keyword present that is called as class. Here, look to this. Here you can say that we have three tokens. Here you can say that we have three tokens. This is one of the token, system. This is another token, out. This is third token, println. And here you can see dots are present. So dot separates one token from another token. You can see space is separating one token from another token. Okay. Here dot is separating one token from another token. Right. Here we'll discuss in details why do we use dot, why do we use space, and what are all these things we are going to discuss in the upcoming slides, upcoming videos. We are going to discuss everything. So for the time being, you can think that well, the last point states that when the compiler scans, here you can see it scans the text and extract individual tokens. So here we have written a lot of things. When the compiler will scan this, okay, here you can see compiler will scan C, then compiler will scan L, then compiler will scan A, S, S. Compiler will come to know that this is a token. Here by this compiler will come to know that this is a token. Here by scanning this, it will come to know that this is a token. So this is how the compiler can know about tokens. So tokens are the smallest individual unit of a program which is meaningful to the compiler, remember. Now look to this example and tell me how many tokens we have here. So this is one of the token one. This is another token. This is third one. This is fourth. This is fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and here you can see the whole thing. Here it is called as ninth token. This is 10th. This is 11th. So similar, this is how we can calculate number of tokens, right? So this is one of the example of a program where you can calculate individual tokens. How many tokens we have here, you can calculate. Now there are 5 types of tokens. Remember, in Java there are 5 types of tokens. One is identifier. Identifier, you can see within bracket I have written variables. Remember, variables are called as identifiers, but you cannot call identifier as a variable. The reason is, within identifier, okay, many things will come within identifier. So variable is one of the thing. So variables can be called as an identifier, but identifiers cannot be called as a variable. So here the first token is, one of the token is identifier, second one is keyword, third one is separators, fourth one is operators, and fifth one is literals. Here in details we are going to discuss about what is identifiers, what is keyword, what is separator, what is operator, and what is literal. Many a times a question is asked in ICSE examination that what are tokens and how many types of tokens are present in Java. So for this you can write tokens are the individual unit of a Java program which are meaningful to the compiler. They are the individual unit of a Java program which are meaningful to the compiler. There are 5 types of tokens in Java: identifiers, keywords, separators, operators, and literals. So this is how you can answer this question. If a question comes in your exam, you can answer like this. Now let's move to the identifiers and we'll discuss what is an identifier and how we can use this identifier. Here you can see that the first category of token is an identifier. Here our first category I have written. You just don't get confused with this. Don't think that we always have to read about identifier first. Remember student, I have placed this identifier, keyword, separators, operator, literals in a sequence that I feel like if I teach you first about identifiers, then it will be easy for you to understand. Then if I move to keyword, it will be easy for you to understand. If I move to separators, operators, then literals, it will be quite easy for you to understand. Okay, so this is the reason I have mentioned here identifiers are the first category. It is first category according to me. Nowhere you will find that it is first category of token. Okay, there are 5 types of tokens, right? Okay, but it is never said that identifier comes first, comes second. This, it is nothing like that. I have put it into this sequence because what I feel like, if I teach you in this sequence, it will be quite easy for you to understand. Here, identifiers are the first category of token identifiers are the first category of token, right? So the first category of token is an identifier. So first we are going to discuss about identifiers. Identifiers are used by programmers, and who all are the programmers? We are the programmers. Okay, we use identifiers. Remember, we use identifiers. Why do we use identifiers? This is, I will tell you, one of the important token. Why do we use identifier? To name something. Whenever you name something in Java, that is called as an identifier. Now you must be thinking, sir, what all things we name? What are the things we name? Okay, what we can name, so that that can be called as an identifier. Remember, there are few things which are already defined in Java, which are already written for you in Java. So those things cannot be called as an identifier. What you write, what you name is called as an identifier. Okay, so if we write, look here, if we write that CLASS, class, okay, so here class cannot be called as an identifier. The reason is, class is a token, that is right, class is a token, and if this is a token, it will come under identifier, it will come under keyword or something, it will come under keyword or identifier or separator. That is different thing that we will discuss later on. Class is not an identifier because here class is already written for you. This keyword here, you can see class keyword. Here class keyword is already written for you. So this you are not writing, this you are not naming. What you are naming? The class name you are naming. When I say class house, this is not written in Java. Here you can see house is not written in Java, isn't it? So here class is not considered as an identifier, but house is considered as an identifier. The reason is, here you name this class. Here you have named this one, so this is called as an identifier. So whenever you name something which is not there in Java, that is called as an identifier. So if I ask you, public is an identifier? No, public is not an identifier. The reason is, it is already defined in Java. Void, when you write void main, 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 okay, void is an identifier? No, it is not an identifier because it is already defined in Java. But main is an identifier because this is the name which you write, isn't it? This is the name which you write. This is not predefined in Java. Okay, this name a programmer write, this is not predefined in Java, so this can be considered as an identifier. So whenever you name something, you write a name, that is called as an identifier. Identifiers are used by programmers. We programmers use identifier to name things in Java. Whenever you name something in Java, that is called as an identifier. If you name a variable, that is called as an identifier. If you name a method, that is called as identifier. Fields, classes, interfaces, exceptions, packages, whatever you name, that is called as identifier. Anything you name in Java, you give a name to something, variable, if you are going to give a name to a variable, if you are going to give a name to methods, if you are going to give a name to fields, classes, interfaces, exceptions, packages, anything you name, that can be called as an identifier. Here do not think about interfaces, you don't have to read about interfaces. Just this is in the definition that we also name interface, but you don't have to read anything about interface, okay? But in the upcoming classes we'll discuss about exceptions, and we are also going to discuss about packages. Already we have discussed that what are packages, but again in the upcoming classes we will discuss something about exceptions and packages. Remember, whatever name you give, that is called as an identifier. Okay, here there is a set of rules which we have to follow while writing an identifier. What are the rules? The first rule states that an identifier can be combination of alphabets. Okay, the identifier must contain, it is a combination of alphabets. Here, when you write an identifier, when you name something, it must contain A to Z in capital letter or small letter. It can have digits 0 to 9. It can have currency characters, and it can have a underscore sign, right? So here, when you name something, when you write an identifier, it must be a combination of A to Z, capital A to Z, or small a to Z. You can write it in capital letter, all small letter. You can write it in capital letter or small letter. Then you have to write. Then you can write digits. You can include digits 0 to 9. You can include currency character. When I say currency character, do not think that dollar sign is the only currency character. Here, instead of dollar sign, you can use rupee. You can use rupee sign. You can use euro. You can use yen. You can use any currency character. Okay. So here I have just mentioned one currency character, but here you can use any currency character. Okay. And then we can also use underscore. If you want, you can use underscore. Okay, this is the first rule of writing an identifier. Second rule states that the first character in identifier must be an alphabet, currency character, or underscore. That means you can never start an identifier with a digit. Remember, you can never start an identifier with a digit. An identifier must start with an alphabet, or you can start it with a currency character, or you can start it with an underscore. No comma or blanks are allowed within an identifier. When you write an identifier, okay, you cannot separate an identifier. You can say that you cannot write an identifier. I'm not talking about separate. You cannot write an identifier giving a comma or blank space. Now, if I want to give a name to a class, okay, then if I want to give a name that is home suite, this is let us consider this is one identifier. We cannot write an identifier like this. The reason is here we have a space. Okay, an identifier cannot contain space or it cannot contain comma. Identifiers are case sensitive. What do you mean by case sensitive? Now, when you write an identifier, let us write an identifier home. If you write an identifier like this, and if you write an identifier like this, both are different, because here you can see H is capital, H is small. If I consider A as an identifier, okay, so this is written in capital letter and here A is written in small letter. So this is case sensitive. Here identifiers are case sensitive. If you write something in capital letter, if you write something in small letter, then both will be considered as two different identifiers. A keyword cannot be used as an identifier. Remember, you can never use a keyword as an identifier. What do you mean by keyword? Keyword like class is a keyword. Public is a keyword. We'll discuss about keyword in details in the next slide. But for the time being, class is a keyword. It is already written for you. Okay, it is already present in Java. So it is a keyword. It has a specific meaning. Okay, keyword cannot be used as an identifier. You cannot use a keyword to name something, because they have their own meaning. They are used for special purpose. So once again, you cannot use it to name something. So here we have this rules and regulations which can be used to name an identifier. Let's once again look to this. So what are identifiers? Identifiers are used by programmers to name things in Java. Okay, if you are asked that what are identifiers in Java and how can you declare an identifier, what you have to write: identifiers are used by programmers to name things in Java, such as variables, methods, fields, classes, interface, exceptions, and packages, and etc. Okay, so here whenever you name anything in Java, that is called as an identifier. Rules to write an identifier. What are the rules we have to follow? The first rule states that it is a combination of alphabets, digits, currency character, and underscore. Instead of these four things, you cannot write anything. Okay, you cannot give any special symbol there, you cannot separate it. Okay, so you cannot give any special characters there. It will only contain alphabets, digits, currency character, and underscore. The second rule is the first character must begin with an alphabet, currency character, or an underscore. and no comma, blank space or any special character is allowed within an identifier. Identifiers are case sensitive, that is, capital letter identifiers are considered as different and small letter identifiers are considered as different. They both are different from each other. Okay, if someone is writing home in capital letter and someone is writing home in small letter, both can be written in Java, because this is another identifier, this is separate identifier. A keyword cannot be used as an identifier. We can never use a keyword as an identifier. Let's look to this example. Here you can see that this is a class. Okay, it is already defined in a program. Already it is defined in a program. So this is not an identifier, rather this is the identifier, because here I have written this class named telephone. Telephone is the name given to the class by me. So this can be considered as an identifier. Now if you need to change this one, telephone, okay, now instead of telephone we can write anything else. Directory. If I write instead of telephone, if I change this to directory, now the identifier is directory. Here the class name is directory. You can say that class name. What do you mean by class name? I'm giving a name to a class. Class is a keyword. Okay, this is already present in Java. Class is a keyword, right? You cannot use class for any other purpose. We cannot use class, remember. So class is a keyword, but the name which is given to the class, it is given by me, it is given by the programmer. It can be given by you, it can be given by someone else. So directory, here you can say that directory is the class name. This is the class name which is given by a programmer, which is given by me. So here directory can be considered as an identifier. Public is a keyword, remember. Static is a keyword. We cannot use it for any other purpose. We cannot name anything using static. Void is a keyword. Main, here you can see that main is the name given by me. So this here you can consider main is an identifier. Instead of main, if you write main1, then main1 can be considered as an identifier. You can see that program is compiling, isn't it? So here you can say that class name is given by a programmer. So the name which is given to a class is an identifier. The name which is given to the method is an identifier. And we have already discussed this in the slide, that what are identifiers? Identifiers are the name given by the programmer, such as class name, method name, fields, variables. Okay, so the different names what do we give, that is called as an identifier. Now here if we write, you can see that int, if I write a, look to this very carefully, int a. Okay, we'll discuss that what do you mean by this semicolon and all. Okay, but for the time being we are only discussing about identifiers. Let's not think much about this braces and parenthesis, and here what is this semicolon, why do we write int. We'll discuss in the later on part. You can see that int is a keyword. You cannot use int for any other purpose. And a is a variable. Okay, a is a variable and which stores 10. A is a variable. This is the name given by me. This is the name given by me. Here a can be considered as an identifier. Instead of a, if I write no, no can be considered as an identifier, right? So this is how we can name an identifier. So here this class name is an identifier, method name is an identifier, variable is an identifier. If I write any field, double max, if I write here, this is a field which is called as an identifier. Variables are called as an identifier. Whatever name you write, whatever name you give, that is called as an identifier. Now according to the rules, if you start an identifier with a number, it will give you an error. Remember, here I am starting an identifier with a number and we'll see that whether it is compiling or not. No, it's not compiling. You can see some errors are found. What is the error? Okay, it's showing us an error. That means this is not an identifier. Okay. Now, you cannot have space between an identifier. You cannot have space. Here, this is not considered as an identifier. Again you will get an error. You can see that here you get an error. Once again you are getting an error. So you cannot have space within an identifier. Okay. Now the next rule states that an identifier can start with an alphabet, it can start with an underscore, and it can also start with a currency character. Okay, here you can use dollar sign, you can use rupees sign, you can use it, it's up to you. If you want to use some dollar sign, rupee sign, yen sign, euro sign, if you want to use, you can use, everything will work here. Okay, so this is one of the example. Here you can see we have used dollar sign at the beginning, then then an underscore, then here you can see we have used an alphabet. We'll compile this one, and yes, the program is compiling. The reason is an identifier can start with a dollar sign, or you can say it can start with a currency character, then followed by it can have underscore, it can have alphabets. Here if you want, you can have a number, not an issue. Okay, it will compile. The reason is it must start with a currency character, or you can say it must start with an alphabet. Here you I'm sorry, an underscore. Here you can see that it is compiling, or it must start with an alphabet, right? It can never start with a number. Okay, now here you must be thinking that, sir, you just used a dollar sign. Instead of dollar sign, if we use a currency character as euro, then is it going to work? Yes, this is going to work. Let's do one thing. We'll just copy a euro sign from internet, and we'll check that whether it is working or not, right? Here let me open this one, browser, and within browser I'm going to write, let me open Google, and here let me write euro. I can get somewhere. Here you can see I get a euro sign here. I will copy this one, and instead of dollar sign we'll paste this euro sign, and we'll see that whether it is compiling or not. Yes, it is compiling. So any currency character will work here. You can also write rupee, and you will get a rupee sign somewhere. You will get a rupee sign which can be copied to the program, and here you can see that rupee sign is there. Okay, and that can be copied here, and we'll check that whether it is going to work or not. Yes, it is working. That means we can use any currency character. If somebody asks you that when we say that when we can use currency character, that only means that you can use as a dollar sign. No, it is not like that. You can use any currency character. You can use rupee, you can use euro sign, you can use yen, you can use dollar, you can use anything. You can use dinar. Okay, any currency symbol you can use here. So these are the few things which by which we can declare an identifier. So identifiers, you can say that whenever you name something in Java, something in a program, something like whenever you write a class name, whenever you write a variable name, a field name, whatever, whenever you give a name to something, that is called as an identifier. Here you will find few legal identifiers and illegal identifiers. Why this is an illegal identifier? The reason is it is starting with a number, and we know that an identifier cannot start with a number. It cannot have special characters here. Okay, it is having a special character. And here why this is not an identifier? The reason is auto is a keyword. Okay, auto is a keyword. Here remember, auto is a keyword. So auto cannot be used as an identifier. Age is a legal identifier. Dollar salary is a legal identifier. It's a legal identifier because we can start with an underscore sign. Here this is the legal identifier because it is again starting with an underscore sign, and we are having one underscore value. So all these are legal identifiers. Now identify, how many identifiers are here in the program? Let's identify this one. How many identifiers we have? Okay, here we have the first identifier. This is the first identifier, isn't it? Why? The reason is this is class name. This is not an identifier. Remember, this is not an identifier. This is the name given by me. This is the name given by the programmer. So here this is the first identifier. This one is the second identifier. This one you can see here, this is the third identifier. We'll learn how to write this program and all, that is the upcoming classes we are going to learn. So now just discuss that how to identify the identifiers or write the identifiers. So this is the third identifier. You can see that this is the variable name, that is n. This is the fourth identifier, b. Again, this is the variable name, so this is the fourth identifier. Now you must be thinking, sir, can we consider this as an identifier? No, do not consider this anymore as an identifier, because the calculation is already done here. Okay, we have already considered n as an identifier. So once again, do not consider n as an identifier because it is already calculated, right? And here again, b we cannot consider it as an identifier. The reason is b is already calculated. Okay, now system is considered as an identifier. Now you will think that why system is considered as an identifier. Remember, system is considered as an identifier because this is name of a class. Okay, this is name of a class and this is not a reserved word. Remember, system is not a reserved word. System is not a keyword. System can be considered as an identifier. The reason is it is class name. Out is considered as an identifier because this is data member, or you can say this is field of system class. Println is considered as an identifier because this is the name given by a programmer. Okay, it may not be given by me. I have not given this name, but it is given by some programmer. Whenever it was included in Java, the things are the name was given by the programmer. So here system can be considered as an identifier, out can be considered as an identifier, print can be considered as an identifier. So here seventh one is println. Okay, total identifier, how many we have? We have 7 identifiers. Total 7 identifiers we have. Please do not get confused with this. Why system, out and println is considered as an identifier? Because these are not the names which we are writing. Students, this is not the name which you are writing, but someone has already written for you. The name of a class, this is name of a class, isn't it? System is name of a class. Out is name of a field or data type. Println is name of a method. So these are the name given by some programmer. Okay, that is the reason we call it as an identifier. Next, coming to keywords. Keywords are considered as second category. Again, I'm telling you, I'm considering it as second category, but never in a book you will find that it is considered as second category. Okay, so I feel like if I teach you keyword in the second, like after identifiers, if I teach you keywords, it will be quite easy for you to understand. So keyword are the second category of token in Java. Keywords are reserved word. What do you mean by reserved word? They have a special meaning for the compiler. You cannot use a keyword for any other purpose. Remember, student, a keyword cannot be used for any other purpose. Whenever you write a keyword, they have a very special meaning for the compiler. For example, class. Remember, CLASS, small. I'm talking about small, CLASS, small. Class is considered as a keyword because they have a special meaning for the compiler. That is, using CLASS class, we can write a class name. We can write an identifier or we can write a class name. Public is a keyword. All can access it. Static is a keyword. Void is a keyword. INT is a keyword. So these are the keywords. They have special meaning for the compiler. And you cannot use a keyword for any other purpose. Remember, it cannot be used. If you think that if you will write class int, then it will give you an error. The reason is, as we know that an identifier cannot contain a keyword, but int is a keyword, and we know that int cannot be used for any other purpose. Int is only used to declare an integer variable. To declare an integer variable, we use int. To declare a decimal value, we write double. So here keywords, they have a special meaning for the compiler. They have inbuilt meaning. Okay, they have a special meaning, they have a reserved meaning, they have inbuilt meaning for the compiler, which cannot be used for any other purpose. For a specific reason, for a specific purpose, you have to use keywords. There is no other way. Here we have some list of keywords which are listed here. These are the list of keywords. Okay. Now you must be thinking that do we have to remember all the keywords? No, you don't have to remember a single keyword here. The reason is over the time when we will do the program, you will come across several different keywords and it will become quite easy for you to remember. Okay. So here with the practice with the program, you will come to know that what are the keywords we have. You will come across many keywords which will go to your mind, which you can memorize very easily. Now you don't have to remember any keyword. This is just for your knowledge that we have few keywords here. I think I have mentioned 32 keywords, and few keywords you must be able to recognize. Here you can see class. We have written class is a keyword. We have written here double is a keyword. New is a keyword. Why do we use new? New, it has a very specific meaning, isn't it? Why do we use new? New is used to give a dynamic memory to the object. So it has a specific meaning for the compiler. It has a reserved meaning for the compiler. So new is a keyword. Okay. If is a keyword. And here static is a keyword. Int is a keyword. Void is a keyword. Okay. Similarly, we have here public is a keyword. So these are few keywords which you are quite familiar with, but in our upcoming classes we are going to discuss about some more keywords, right? Now let's identify a few keywords here. Okay, what can be the keyword here? Class is the first keyword, public is the second keyword, static is third keyword. Is program a keyword, students? No, it is not a keyword. The reason is it is an identifier. Void is a keyword. Main is a keyword? No, main is not a keyword because it is an identifier. Int is a keyword, right? N is a keyword? No, N is not a keyword. Okay, here you can say that class is a keyword, public is a keyword, static is a keyword, void is a keyword, int is a keyword. Once again we have written here int, so it is a keyword. Once again we have written a keyword. Okay, so this is the sixth keyword, and here we don't have any other keyword. So total there are 6 keyword in this program. Okay, so this is how we can think about the keyword. Keyword has a specific meaning for the compiler, or you can say keyword are the reserved word which cannot be used for any other purpose. They are only used for specific reason. They cannot be used for any other purpose. So today we discuss what is token in Java and what are the types of token we have. So basically we learned that there are 5 types of tokens. First one is identifier, second one is keyword, third one is separator, fourth one is operator, and the fifth one is literals. So today we discuss about identifiers and keywords. In the upcoming videos or the next video we are going to discuss about separators, operators, and we are going to discuss about literals. Along with that we will also discuss about different types of comments what we have, we'll discuss about data types. So we are going to discuss a lot about this chapter. This is very important for your exam point of view. Till the next video, stay tuned with me. God bless you all.